Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. Pleasure to be here again.
Again and again. You seem to have a lock on the Cup Championship. IndyCar's doing well. You've bought Long Beach. It seems like you're on your way to world domination everywhere.
Well, if you're not moving forward, you go back. So,
what else can we expect? Do you have your eyes on other things beyond what we might already know about?
Well, I think we took the move into sports cars 2 years ago with Porsche, and that's been a big step for us because one goal we haven't achieved is winning the 24-hour race at Le Mans. And you can't do that unless you got a good car and a good team. And I think that with winning the WEC championship, I've been in Bahrain and Qatar, places I've never been in my life. So I can tell you I've been traveling around the world with that. But I think that sets us up for June of this year. But when you think about, where we're committed, it's in certainly NASCAR and IndyCar. Our ownership there is critical. We invested in Long Beach. It was a chance. Jerry Forsythe's partner passed away, Kevin Kalkoven, and I contacted him and said, look, you have any interest in partnering? And we decided over a handshake, really over the phone, to make a deal. And they had to clean up some things in the estate. And then, we moved on. Jim McCallion will continue to be the leader there. Very experienced person. The market is very key for us. And I think when you look at Iowa, you look at certainly at Milwaukee, we need ovals. And that's one of the things that we can say is we have a diverse business, a diverse schedule. And to me, even NASCAR is trying to do the same thing. And if we can keep 16, 17 races next year and in the future, I think with the diverse ovals, big ovals, short ovals, road courses, permanent, and the streets, our Arlington, Texas announcement, I think is, people don't realize to get Jerry Jones and the people at the Rangers behind us, it's going to be a great event. But we got to execute there, and I think plenty of teams that are interested. But, obviously we're here today because of the success in NASCAR. And, I go back, 50 years, I guess, back whenever it was, 81 or somewhere when I ran an Impala with Rusty. And to see the sport grow and, where we are today and think that we had 150 wins. It's a long way from Hendricks, who sets the bar, and Richard Petty. But we're trying to climb up the ladder. The five wins this year by Joey, including the All-Star race. And when you look at the stats, from the All-Star race to the end of the year, Team Penske won 42% of the NASCAR races. So this wasn't a fluke. The Joey got lucky. I mean, he put it together, and there's no question he and Blaney and even Cindric helped a lot as we were starting to build that one-team effort. And to me, as we go forward, it's so important in our business because, and I'll mention it tonight, that racing is a common thread, through our company. And, it shows teamwork, it shows performance, integrity, transparency, but also it builds our brand. And that brand is a glue, and this racing is what's a glue for our 74,000 people. So that's why you see us continuing to invest. We've done it in the company. And I think I remember back when I was racing, I had a $250 sponsorship on my car, and SCCA said, well, you covered up with tape. So, we've come a long way now when you look at the cars and what they look like today. And our sponsorship group, tonight Tim Knavish will be in attendance. 40 years we've been with PPG. So, it's the sponsorship, it's the people. I think the domain knowledge that we have with half of our NASCAR team has been with us for over 10 years. So that's the unfair advantage we bring to the track, and I think that's given us, the ability to perform like we have. I know that's a long answer to your question. I'm sorry.
We'll stay to Rogers left and go to Lee Spencer.
Lee Spencer, Sirius 6 of NASCAR Radio.
Oh, hi. Sorry.
You're fine. You've observed a lifetime of motorsports. Where do you see the next evolution coming in motorsports as a whole?
Well, I think, motorsports, we're seeing, more manufacturers wanting to get into certain types of e-racing, Formula E. Certainly the LMDH program at IMSA has been exciting. So I think they see it as an avenue to build the brand and the particular models that they're racing. As far as I'm concerned, diversity will be key. Chicago, the different places, the stadium in LA for NASCAR. I think you're going to see more of that. We're going to take risks like that as I would say, sanctioning bodies. And look, we might see, as we did with NASCAR doubleheaders. I mean, I haven't talked about this. I'm not announcing anything, but think about it, Indy. We ran a doubleheader there with IndyCar and NASCAR. You could do that to give, a fuller weekend and some diversity there. I think could be important as we go forward. And our relationship with IMSA runs with us on some weekends, so I could see that be a way to build it. I don't see us doing a lot of international racing right now. I think that Mexico, will be probably a spot we'd like to go as far as Indy. We know we're going there, with NASCAR. So I think new venues, I think the ability to have television, which is one thing that I really haven't talked about, our ability to get Fox for 17, 18 races on linear TV, and then F1 and FS1 and FS2 really is a home run. And I think that, we have no program like NASCAR has at IndyCar, but that's okay. We're in a separate league. We're on a separate road, and I think people love sports cars. People love NASCAR, and I think the demographics, when you look at the fans, are different. And I think that biggest challenge is to get young people put their phones down and come to the races.
We'll go all the way over to your right, Roger, to Jacob, and then we'll go to Bob.
Jacob Seelman, Raceface Digital. Roger, two quick ones for you. First, Joey was in here earlier and talked about how he feels like he and his team thrive on pressure. You've won the last 3 Cup championships now. Is there a target there? Do you feel like there's extra pressure on Team Penske with all the success you've had, or is this just the standard that you've built at this point?
Well, it's business as usual. I mean, we got to put ourselves in position. And Joey, you all know him. There's no harder worker on the team. And I think that, when Brad moved on, Joey kind of took the leadership, to pull it together. And he and Ryan have become good friends. They race each other a weekend. You could see it in Phoenix. But we run as one team. And I think, sure, there's pressure, but I think the pressure was on when I saw him running side to side in Phoenix. That was one area that I didn't. That was the pressure I had. But look, I rely on our people. And when you think about, Mike Nelson and Travis Geisler and the team there, they've been with us, for a long time. And I think they give our group the confidence that we can deliver. And a perfect example is when we had our jackman have an issue in the middle of Phoenix. We were able to take the guy off the 2 and you never knew the difference. So I think that's that cross-pollination and that deep bench.
You talk about the Team Penske being about the people, but for you personally, I mean, do moments like this, does it ever get old considering everything you've done over the last 5 decades?
Well, racing keeps me alive here. I got to keep going here, my age. But no, it's a tremendous. It takes a lot of effort, but the returns, they're not. You don't win every weekend, but the returns are so important, not only for the team but for our business. So I'm fully motivated every week.
We'll go to Bob Pockris right in the middle first, then Dustin Long.
Bob Pockris,
Hey, Bob.
Fox Sports. NASCAR said that they potentially will look at, or that they will look at potential tweaks to their points format. You compete in a lot of series with a lot of different point systems. Is there anything that you would like to see changed in NASCAR's?
Well, I would say this, that we all signed up for a point system at the beginning of the year, didn't we? And that's what we operated on. And, we've been around where there's been changes, many different times. And I think we'll let NASCAR take that one on. If they think they need changes, fine. But I guess when someone says you win 3 in a row, they got to change something. Or Joey, but remember, Logano, including the All-Star race, had a tremendous season, and we won 42% of the races, the team did, including after the All-Star race to the end of the season. So people can say what they want about the system. We have a winner in the Shell Pennzoil car, our driver Logano, and the second place finisher was Blaney. So, I guess we figured it out.
Dustin?
Dustin Long, NBC Sports. Roger, you referenced, NASCAR, IndyCar doubleheaders, obviously like we saw in the past at Indy. What would you envision of something like that moving forward? How likely is that down the road? Obviously, I think that's something a lot of people would like to see, that would just put everybody together in one spot and be a fun weekend. How would you envision something like that, and how possible could that be?
Well, I want to make it clear I've had no conversation with NASCAR, so I don't want people to think I'm announcing something here. That's not the case. But I know it was successful. We could see it with the fan base, at Indy. What happened when we took it out of that Saturday. We see the numbers there. But I think that we're all looking to, we got assets. When we go to these temporary circuits, to have 2 racing series that could come in and help pay for those assets, and that build out will be very important. And I think the fan base, think about it, you're going to cross-pollinate people that might be NASCAR fans. We'll see Indy or maybe something else. And I think that's important. We see that obviously with IMSA running with us, at Long Beach and places like that. I think it's, I was asked by Lee, what do we see in the future? I would say that, to me, I would try to do something like that.
We'll go to Lewis right there.
Yeah, to your left.
Yeah, Lewis.
Hi. Congratulations. You touched on seeing Ryan and Joey side by side a little bit at Phoenix. Now, you've had Kurt Busch, you had a young Paul Tracy. What goes through your mind when you see 2 drivers side by side? One is going to come out the champion or none.
Well, I was glad it was those 2 guys and not Kurt Busch and Paul Tracy. Anyhow, what goes through my mind? I don't sit on the box because all you do is see the cars go by the start-finish line. I'm always up in a place that I can see the whole racetrack, and I can tell you, I had my binoculars when they're running side by side, but they know it. But we have no team orders. You follow me now? Obviously, if one was, not in the chase and behind him, you wouldn't expect him to try to run side by side. But I think they handle it properly, and it's all I can expect. These guys are pros. We pay them to do the right job, so I might take something away from them if they both wrecked.
We'll go to Claire and then Trey.
Claire B. Lang. Roger, you spoke earlier about young people and phones, et cetera. I think back to the young Joey Logano, and I think about your success relating to people. And I think how he almost didn't make it at the time, right? And he came over to your place, and you listened to him, and his crew chief listened to him. What have you seen in him that has changed? And what advice do you have for young people who maybe, he could have easily not have had a ride at the time, and look, now he's a multi-champion?
Well, I think number one, and you might not know the story, but, I'd met Joey. I really didn't know him that well. I'd seen him run some, and of course he was with Gibbs. And there was discussion, at least in the market, that Gibbs didn't have a full-time ride for him in Cup. So I called Joe up, and I said, "Hey, I'd like to hire Joe." And he said, "Well, give me a week." I said, "Okay, I'm trying to be a decent guy. I might not do that today, but anyhow, I'll give anybody a week." But I called him back. He said, so we hired him. And he walked in the door. He was a winner at that point. And I think that he appreciated, to come to our team because he wasn't the top guy at Gibbs. And I think he came to our team and he saw that we ran as one organization and gave him all the tools that everybody else had. And I think that gave his confidence. And 34 wins with us in 13 years is amazing. So he started early. And of course, the 3 championships, just think about it. It's inches to win these championships. There's a number of cars out there that could have won, but I just think it's the effort that he puts in on the track. He's one of the toughest competitors out there. You ask the guys he raced with every weekend. Then from getting married and with Brittany, I think it's really important to say that the commitment he has to his family, his two sons and his daughter, and then the foundation, which he's put together with Brittany, where they're out doing things to help people that are not as fortunate. So I think he's matured as an individual, no question. We've matured. We've gotten better. I think the relationship with Paul Wolf, who's now the winningest crew chief in the garage area, thanks to Joey and together, I think you put all that together and you end up with a championship this year. So we're going to go for 4. Tell Hendricks, will you please?
I'll pass the word.
We can't get 14, I can tell you that.
We'll call him up. One other quick thing. Can you just celebrate this one? You've won so much, so many championships, so many big moments. How do you just let loose and enjoy this one?
You got to be careful today letting loose with all these cameras, right? No, listen, I think inside and most exciting part is and rewarding is that all of our people that work for us get the benefit of this win. I've said before, my name's on the door, but it's the 450 people at Team Penske that make a difference. So, they work hard, they're loyal, and they want to win.
Yeah. We'll stay to your right, Roger, and go to Trey, and then Mark and Jerry.
Trey Downey, Motor Racing Network. Roger, you expect excellence from all of your people, but with all that Joey has accomplished now as a 3-time champion, is it fair to say he exceeded your expectations that you had for him when you hired him?
Well, if you'd have said to me 5 years ago that he'd win 3 championships, I said that's a big, tall order. But to watch him, the last few years and the way he's matured and his driving, and think about it, you got to go with the record. With 34 wins and, in 13 years, it's almost 3 a year. And then you look at the championships. I think that I expect him not only this year and the future to be what he is. I mean, he's at the top of his game, and I think we can help him stay there with Wolf and the right cars behind him, and obviously our support from Ford has been terrific, and our sponsors too. He's a great guy commercially, something we didn't talk about. We've had Pennzoil now, Shell Pennzoil, for almost 15 years, and these wins just pile up the opportunities with us, with the sponsors, and attracts other ones. And our business to business is very important too. And Joey's, you can't ask him, and he's always ready to go. And he's not waiting for an airplane or waiting how much. He said, what do I need to keep these sponsors? If he can stay like that, he'll be a winner for a long time.
And you've talked a lot about double headers and things like that today with IndyCar and NASCAR. Next year, NASCAR does not have a race in Southern California. Would bringing NASCAR to Long Beach at some point be possible?
Well, I don't know what, I know that NASCAR has other areas out in Southern California that they're looking at, to compete in. And there might be a possibility, could we do something with them? We've not talked to them about it, as I said earlier, but, it certainly could be a possibility.
All the way in the back middle to Mark.
Mark Garrow, PRN, congratulations
Thanks.
again. How do you fight complacency kind of creeping in after so much success? You can talk about it, but how do you guys keep it from not becoming part of your DNA?
Well, I think the pressure from our sponsors to perform, because they're not going to support us at the levels they do if we don't perform, number one. I think the fact that it's the DNA and our brand value is another reason that we do that. And we run an organization where it's not a place where nobody fails. So when we have people that aren't getting the job done, we move them on.
We'll stay right in the back and go to Jerry.
Jerry Jordan, Kicking the Tires.net. I want to go back many years. You were a teenager selling cars, repairing cars. Would you have ever thought that you'd be here where you're at now with the Penske empire? And what advice would you have given yourself back then if you could have?
Well, I guess it all started back in '51 when my dad took me to Indy. And I guess I got bitten by the racing bug. And, instead of going to parties at night, I had a engine apart in my mother's wash tub with gunk all smelled through the house. So I guess it was in my blood early on. And I did a little racing myself, had success. But when I became a Chevrolet dealer in February of '65, part of the agreement for me to be, I had to stop racing. I had to go to the bank to get financing. And I also had to get insurance. So it was an easy step for me to go out of racing and then build it within the company. And I think we continue to do that. And I'll tell you, it's given us an edge. The opportunity, because of the auto business and the access that we've had to meet the top people in the auto industry around the world. You ask Rick Hendricks, I mean, it's an amazing door opener. And with a little bit of success, and you can lead for a brand, one of these brands worldwide, it's a tremendous advantage, and we want to continue to do that.
We have time for one more question if there is. No? All right, Mr. Penske, congratulations
Okay,
and thank
guys,
you.
we'll see you here next year, okay?